Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Act like you know how this goes. Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Act like you know how this goes.
Bighorn 100 was a good race. It was a solid race. I had some ups and downs, that's for sure. It was hot for me at the beginning of the race because for the first 30 miles, it was 80 degrees. And living in upper Midwest next to Lake Superior, it's been around 40 to 50 degrees. So I had a 40-degree difference from training to race day. But that kind of had some negative effects for the first third of the race. From 1 mile to 30 miles, it felt kind of dizzy, felt kind of weird, felt kind of out of it. As I descended into Sally's Footbridge at mile 30, I kind of threw it down a little bit, went down a little too hard. It caused some problems after Sally's. After Sally's, you go up for 18 miles pretty much. You go all the way up to Jaws, the turnaround, 48 miles. The whole way up, I was wanting to puke, didn't have any energy, peed once, and it was orange, so I was dehydrated. I wasn't getting enough fuel. I wasn't having anything, basically. My energy showed for that. My energy was very low. The legs felt like they were completely destroyed. It was a struggle. But probably around 38 to 40 miles, one of my Midwest friends ran into me and they gave me some Skittles to put in the side of my cheek, which was a sweet trick. I was able to, for the first hour of having those Skittles in my mouth, I didn't want them in there. There's some really nice guys that were so positive and gave me Doritos. I didn't want the Doritos. I gave them a little lick. Gave the Doritos a lick, and that's all I wanted from them. Tossed them away before or after they left because I felt bad for not really wanting them and not being able to keep them down at all. I was sitting down this whole time, just like slogging along. After that first hour of having those Skittles in my cheek, I was able to slowly start to enjoy the Skittles. So after an hour of those sitting in my cheek, them slowly melting in my cheek, they finally, after about an hour, I was like, okay, this is kind of all right. So then I would chew them a little bit, then put them back in my cheek, and then keep waltzing along. But after that hour, this whole time I'm experimenting. I'm trying to figure out what is going to work, what I can get down and get energy back into the legs, until I wound up on this gel that we've been trying, I haven't tried it all yet. My wife has tried it and she likes it, but it's a Never Second gel, and it had 75 milligrams of caffeine in it. And I hadn't tried it yet. I just had it in there for like emergency purposes. And well, I think this is an emergency purpose. And so I took that gel, and my race turned around from there. Completely turned around. As I got into Jaws, probably a couple miles before I got into Jaws, I started picking up the pace again, started having a solid pace again. And by the time I got to Jaws, I was eating everything. I was eating broth, drinking broth, eating fruit, grapes, bananas, oranges, all that jazz. And it was amazing. So I came out of Jaws, like those people, positive people said, that gave me the Doritos. Two guys that are amazing, they said that Jaws was going to be my turnaround, and then I was going to do great great after Jaws. And they were right. They were absolutely right, and I did not believe them at the time, but I knew that if I just kept experimenting and kept kind of pushing through, that at some point it may turn around and may suck the rest of the race. But that's why I signed up for them. That's why I want to do them, because they suck. These 100-milers suck. But sometimes they can suck a little less as it goes on. And that's what I was counting on. And after having that gel, I was clear sailing the rest of the race. I started getting into a rhythm. I picked up my pacer, my wife, at the turnaround, and we held a solid pace the rest of the race. So we were going 15-minute miles on the flats and 19-minute miles on the uphills, and just trucking along. That's pretty solid for a 100-mile race. Like that's okay to be going that pace. But for the rest of the time there, it was solid. Oh, I forgot to mention, before Jaws saw a bear. There was a bear at mile 42 that was antagonizing all of the runners. All of them that went by, where the bear would kind of run at them a little bit and then back off if you made some noise. So that was kind of crazy. It did the same thing to me, where it ran at me and then kind of backed off, looked back at me like, "What are you?" But other than that, that was the only real wildlife on the whole course that I saw. One helper or volunteer at the aid station after and before Jaws, because it's a turnaround, that when I came into that aid station, I was feeling horrendous, but she had the brightest, warmest smile I've ever seen, and it lifted me up like no other. And then on the way back, same thing. She has the biggest, warmest smile, and it was like just enough positivity to keep my head in the game and keep pushing on. And yeah, so the rest of the race, my wife and I just pushed along. She went with me all the way to mile 82, and that was through the night. Yeah, which was a great experience. It's always fun to be pushing along slugging along through the nasty hours of the night with someone, with a pacer, with your wife. If your wife is wants to do that sort of thing, that is even more of a plus, because normally you don't have a significant other that wants to actually do that. And so I'm so grateful for her for like helping me through that whole night, which I could see that going the wrong way if she wasn't along for the ride. I could see that going quite south, or just mind-numbing. Besides, if it doesn't go south, it'd just be mind-numbing otherwise. But she went with me all the way through to mile 82, and after that dropped me off, and it was clear sailing the rest of the way for myself. I just pushed through at a nice strong pace, kept the same routine that we were doing together. And what I would do is I would have a salt pill before I got to the aid station, eat whatever I could at the aid station, which was oranges, grapes, bananas, and then Coke if they had it. And then after that, probably a little time after the aid station, I'd have another one of those gels. And it was a solid routine, and it kept the energy going the rest of the way through. But that last downhill all the way into the finish, well, not quite the finish, before probably 5 miles before the finish, that whole downhill was rough, because you just go straight down the mountain, down to the trailhead. And if you want a leg burner, go to the mountains and just start. If you can start at the top and just go downhill, and you will destroy your legs like nobody's business. But the worst part about this race for me, I'm a trail runner, man. I hate the road. I don't like running on the road. And the last 5-6 miles were on a stinking road, and it was horrible. Like, they could do away with that whole thing. They could do away with that whole 6 miles back into the finish. But like any ultra runner will tell you, I loved it when I finished. So I was all smiles all the way through the finish chute, and another one in the books, another buckle on my belt. And I'm so happy to be able to push through that horrible, like 30 to 48 miles where I had nothing. But I'm so proud of myself for being able to push through that. And this is what I remind myself of 100-mile races every time, that this is exactly why I do it. Sometimes it gets rough early on, way too early on, where you think that this is way too early, I'm not gonna survive this. And then it turns around because you keep on pushing. Because I kept on pushing, it turned around. I was able to finish a 100-mile race again, which I'm so fortunate to be able to do, and so happy to be able to do, and so proud that I did it. Bighorn, that was fun. That was a great race.